Chapter 2 of The Adventures of Joel Pepper. This is a Librivox Recording. All Librivox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. The Adventures of Joel Pepper by Margaret Sidney. Chapter 2 What Dave Heard. "Dave," said Joel in a whisper. It was the middle of the night, and the loft was very still, save for Ben's breathing over in his bed in the corner. "Don't say a word." Joel laid his mouth close to the ear of the straw pillow. "If you do, I'll nip you and snip you." "Ew!" said little Davie, hugging it down under the scanty blanket and dragging it over his head. "Shh! Be still!" cried Joel, with a wrathful pinch. "Ben'll hear you. There now, just—" "What's the matter, boys?" asked Ben, sleepily. Down flew Joel in a heap under his end of the blanket, where he bestowed a kick from one set of toes on David in a little heap against the wall. The loft was as still as a mouse, so Ben turned over. "I guess Joel wanted a drink of water, and he's gone to sleep and forgot all about it. Now that's good," and he went off again. Joel's black, stubby head popped up, and he peered into the darkness. "Now I've got to wait ever and ever so long," he grumbled softly to himself. "No, there he goes," he added joyfully, as Ben hard. "Now, Dave." He rolled over and ducked under the blanket end. "If you scream again, I'll snip and snip and snip you most dreadful." "I won't," declared little David fearfully. "Oh, I won't, Joel," huddling off from the little brown finger. "Promise now, you'll never tell. Black and blue, hope to die if I do." "We must tell Mamsie," said David. Joel gave an impatient wriggle. "Mamsie won't care, and she's too busy. Now say it, Black, and we must tell Polly," cried little David in a smothered voice. "Oh, Joel, we must tell Polly." "Shh!" cried Joel, with a warning pinch on the small arm that sent David into a worse heap than before. "Now you've gone and waked up Ben again," and he pricked up one ear from under his bedclothes. "Oh!" exclaimed little David, thinking of Mamsie and Polly, whom he was not to tell. Joel drew a long, as Ben did not stir. "Well, say black and blue, hope to die if they do," commanded Joel, sliding back again under the blanket. "Hurry up, Davie." "Black and blue, hope to die if I do," mumbled poor little David, stuffing the end of the blanket into his mouth, trying not to cry as he thought of Mamsie and Polly. "Now, you know I've found a cave, and I'm going up to live there some day," announced Joel in a smothered whisper, his mouth close to David's ear. "Where?" cried fearfully. "Shh! Don't speak so loud. Over in Bandy Leg Mountain." "Oh, dear me!" cried David, stopping himself in the middle of a stream. "Won't old Bandy Leg catch you, Joel?" "Oh, no, I ain't afraid," declared Joel. "He's been dead 100 years, I guess, and beside, I could knock him flat, yes, sirree." He doubled up his little brown fist and bounced up in the middle of the old shake-down. "What's the matter, Joel?" cried Joel, sleepily. "Turn over and go to sleep, and you'll forget again about the drink of water." Joel flung himself flat and burrowed along the whole length of the bed, knocking Davie's shins all the way. "You're pulling all the blanket off me," said Davie, clutching his end from Joel's frantic grasp. "Go to sleep, boys," said Ben sharply, and Joel stopped up grumbling for a drink of water. "Now you've waked up David." Joel gripped Davy fast and clapped one hand over his mouth. "Oh, me, I think Ben might stay asleep a minute," he muttered in an injured voice. "Don't you speak a single word, and I'll tell you all about it." After a long pause in which they heard nothing but a rat nibbling away in the corner. "I'm going up there tomorrow, and I'm taking my gun and some things to eat, and—" "Oh, Joel," interrupted little David, "you can't ever in all this world. Polly won't let you." "Polly will let us go and play some tomorrow," said Joel sturdily, "'cause there ain't any work to do. So there now. And maybe I'll see a bear." "Oh, dear me!" exclaimed little Davy, quite over and trembling in every limb. "He'll eat you. Joel, I'm going to tell Polly." "You can't," said Joel coolly. "You said Black and Blue hope to die if I do, and I'm going to take you." "Oh, I can't go," declared Davy, bouncing up in terror. "I ain't going. I ain't, Joey, I ain't." "Shh, shh," warned Joel, with another snip. "I ain't," cried David softly through his tears. "Pshaw, I guess there ain't any bear up there," said Joel scornfully. "Be still, Dave." Old bandy legs, catch me," mumbled David, digging his small knuckles into his eyes. "Old bandy legs has been dead ever so long. I guess 1,000 years," said Joel. "And there's flowers there, oh, most beautiful ones." "Are there?" asked David, taking down his hands. "What kinds, Joel?" "Oh, all sorts. The most beautiful flowers, red and yellow and green. You can't think, Dave Pepper." "I never saw a green flower," said little David thoughtfully. "Well, they're up there. Oh, sights and sights," said Joel recklessly. "And pink and blue and—" "Are you sure there's green flowers up there?" said Joel, as David huddling up close to him. "Shh! Stop taking all the most beautiful things. I tell you, grow up by that cave." "I might go up and get some not very near the cave, Joel," said Davy, after a long breath. "Not very near." "So you could," said Joel. "Then I guess you'll be glad, Dave Pepper, that you came up with me." "I shall bring down most of the green ones, Joey," cried little David joyfully, "'cause I can get the others down below the mountain." "Yes, yes," whispered Joel impatiently. "And if I plant 'em, they'll grow, and Mamsie'll be glad, and Polly too," he whispered, dreadfully excited. "Won't Polly be glad, though? Joe, she's never seen a green flower." "Yes, now go to sleep," said Joel, with a nudge. "And remember not to say a word to me tomorrow about it." "Can't say anything to you behind the woodpile?" asked David in surprise. "Not a teeny word. And if you don't look at me, if you do, old bandy legs comin' after you." "You said he was dead," cried David in a fearful whisper, and crouching tight to Joel and him with both arms. "Oh, dear me!" "So he is, but he'll catch you if you say a single word. Now go to sleep, and when I tell you to come with me tomorrow, you must start just as quick as scat." "I shall take a basket of the green flowers," said Davy, trying not to think of old bandy legs. "No, you mustn't. you can bring him down in your arms." "I can't bring many," said little David, swallowing hard. "I can't bring many, Joe, and Pa wants 'em in our garden." "Well, old Bandy Legs won't let you get any if you don't stop," said Joel crossly. "So there now." And he rolled off to the edge of the old straw bed, and in 2 minutes was fast asleep, leaving little Davie peered up at the rafters to watch for the first streak of light, determined to get as many green flowers as he possibly could for Polly's garden. "I'll twist up a birch bark basket to bring 'em down in," he decided. And the first thing either of them knew, there was Polly shaking their arms and laughing. "You lazy things, get up. I've been calling and calling and calling you to breakfast." Joel and Dave flew up into the middle of the bed. "Joel was teasing all night for a drink of water," said Ben, as Polly ran down into the kitchen, "and I was just goin' to get up and fetch him some, when he tumbled to sleep again." "Oh, dear me," said Polly, rushing at her work. "Well, I'll keep their porridge warm. Now, Phronsie, you can't help me about these dishes." "I'm just as big since yesterday," said Phronsie, standing up on her tiptoes to turn an injured face to Polly. "See, Polly?" "So you are," said Polly, bursting into a laugh. "Well, I'll tell you, Pet, what you might do that would help me more." "More than wash the dishes, Polly?" cried Phronsie, tumbling down from her tiptoes. "Oh, do tell me, Polly." And she ran up to her and seized Polly's check apron with both fat little hands. "Why, you see, I can't do the dishes, all of them, till the boys get through their breakfast," said Polly, with a sober face, looking at the old clock, as she thought of the seams on the sacks she was going to fly at as soon as the work was done in the kitchen. How nice it was that Mamsie had promised she might try this very morning, while Mrs. Pepper was down in the kitchen with the parsonage, mending the minister's sturdy carpet. "Now, I guess the money'll begin to come in, and Mamsie won't have to work so hard," thought Polly over and over, and her heart beat merrily, and the color flew over her cheek. "Tell me, Polly," begged little Phronsie, holding the apron tight. "Well, now, Pet, there's the snarl of the thread in the work basket. Don't you remember the spool rolled under the bowl, and somebody saw it go, and the boys kicked it and made it into a mess, and Mamsie put it into the little bag, and I was going to pick it out when I got time? If only you could do that, Phronsie. Just think how it would help." Phronsie gave a long sigh. She dropped the apron, folded her hands. "Would it help so very much, Polly?" she asked. Never so much," said Polly. "You needn't do but a little now, and some other day perhaps you could do some more." "I'm going to do it all," said Phronsie, shaking her yellow head determinedly. So she got her little wooden chair from against the wall, and set it in the middle of the kitchen floor, and then brought the little cotton bag out of the old wood basket. "I shall do it this very minute," she declared softly, as she sat down and drew out the snarl of thread. "Now, boys," called Polly, as she took one look at her, and just stopped to drop a kiss on the yellow hair, "you must just come downstairs this very minute. If you don't, you can't have any breakfast." "Coming," snapped Joel, and presently down he tumbled, 2 steps at a time, pulling on his jacket as he went. "Such a long time to stay abed," reproved Polly. "Just think of it. It's after 7 o'clock, Joel Pepper, and Mamsie's been gone half an hour." "And I am working," said Phronsie, twitching at the end of the thread with an important air. "I'm going to pick out the whole of this. I am, for Mamsie. See, Joey?" She held up the snarl, and the spool raised, as if glad to get off once more. "Oh," said Joel, "you're making it worse ever, Phron." "No, I'm not," cried Phronsie, clutching the snarl with both little fists. "Oh, no, I'm not, am I, Polly?" And the big tears began to race her round cheeks. "No," said Polly. "Oh, for shame, Joel, to make Phronsie cry." "I didn't make her cry," denied Joel stoutly, his face working badly. I'll get the spool. See, Polly, here it is." And he dived under the table and came up bright and shining with it in his hand. "There now, Phronsie, see, Joel's got it for you," said Polly, beaming at him. "Now, Pet, I'll tell you what. Let's put Mamsie's basket on the floor, and the old Mr. Spool in it. There, Joel, drop him in. Then he can't run away again. Now then." "Mr. Spool can't run away again," smiled Phronsie through her tears, and leaning out of her little wooden chair to see Joel drop the spool in. "That's nice, Polly, isn't it? Now he can't run away again," she hummed. "Indeed it is," sang Polly, delighted. "He's fast now, so flag your snarl, Pet. Mamsie'll be so pleased to think you've picked out some of it." "I'm going to pick it all out," declared Phronsie in a tone of determination. And wiping off the tears of the back of her fat little hand, she set to work, humming away again to herself. "Now, whatever keeps David?" cried Polly, dishing out Joel's mush kettle on the stove, and setting the bowl on the table. "He's coming," said Joel hastily. "Oh, dear me, I wish we had anything, Polly Pepper, but mush and molasses for breakfast." "Some people don't have anything half as good," said Polly, starting upstairs. "What don't they have?" asked Joel in alarm, as he watched her go. "Oh, I don't know, different things. David!" she called. "You said they didn't have things half as good," said Joel, stopping with a spoonful of porridge halfway to his mouth. "So you know what they are now, Polly Pepper." "Oh, well, they don't. Plenty and plenty of people don't get as near as good things as we have every day for breakfast." "What are they, the things the plenty and plenty of people get?" persisted Joel, beginning on his breakfast comfortably, since Polly was going to talk. "Oh, let me see," said Polly, pausing at the foot of the stairs. "Old bread, for one thing." "Is it moldy?" asked Joel. "Yes, I suppose so," answered Polly, wrinkling up her face. "Eat your own breakfast, Joe, and stop to think of what others have. David!" "You said things," said Joel severely, "and you only told me moldy old bread. Polly Pepper, what else?" "Oh, dear, I don't know." "You said—" "Well, cold potatoes, for one thing, and I suppose most everybody has potatoes. Now eat your breakfast, Polly Pepper. Those are things. Eat your breakfast this minute." When Polly spoke in that tone, the 3 little Peppers knew they must obey. Joel ducked his head over his bowl of mush, and began to hurry the spoonfuls as fast as he could into his mouth. "I must then see what is the matter with David," said Polly, preparing to run up the stairs. Just at this moment he appeared coming slowly down. "Oh, here you are!" cried Polly, brightly, running over to the old stove to dish out his bowl of mush. "Now, Davie, fly at your breakfast, 'cause I've got to sew all the morning just as hard as ever I can." End of chapter 2. Read by Elijah Fisher.